use the code on permits, is from the engineering department, and make sure that, everybody's kept safe, which is really important. Justin Dupuy, is also with engineering, he's a floodplain manager, actually wears more hats than just that, but, that's one of the most important ones he'll be talking about here tonight. And as I introduced her, she came in the back, our engineering director, Stephanie Phillips. We really think the world of Stephanie. She's got a very challenging department to run and does a great job. And last but not least, Nick Vasquez. Oh, you're hiding way over there. Okay, not second to last, still certainly not least, Nicholas Vasquez, our building official. As a chief building official, when we issue certificates of occupancy, everything that everybody does in our permitting department, from receiving permits in, reviewing the permits, and then issuing the permits and doing the inspections and the finals, all the way to a certificate of occupancy, that falls underneath Nick, and he'll be talking about that more tonight. And last, but again, not least, Bryant Dixon is our planning and development director. Some of you that have participated in some of our comprehensive land use planning process that we've been working on, Bryant has led those efforts, and we couldn't be more proud. There's a lot of planning and thought that has to go into starting a new city, and as the planning and development director, Bryant's been leading that effort, doing a great job. So again, thank you all for coming, and with that, I am going to turn it over to Nicholas and let him just kind of open it up.
Do the slides. Okay.
You want me to do it?
Hey, all right. Yeah. So this is something that everybody in the department, actually with the city of St. George, wanted to kind of put out there, like contractor language, like for the general public, because you know you have your contractor responsibility, where they're responsible for pulling permits, getting approvals, and all necessary inspections. And then the purpose behind it is code compliance, where all work needs to comply with our local codes, state codes, and federal regulations. And then in the contractor language, you know, contractors are responsible for any fines, delays, corrections, damages resulting from failure to secure required permits or inspections. And then we suggest, you know, put something in there, final payment should be made upon all inspections are approved and get a certificate of completion. And that's kind of to protect you as a citizen. Because a lot of times, there's some contractors out there where, you know, they might charge you for a permit fee, you expect them to get the permit, because you paid for the permit, and, you know, they never even get a permit. But you as a homeowner, you have no idea because you trust in the contractor. So just to get some little education out there, like once a permit's closed out, you get a certificate of completion. So we just wanted to kind of educate the public on that. All right. These are some of our expectations for getting permits. Really the main thing behind permits is safety. Really, that's the main goal at the end of the day, whether that's for the building or whether that's attaining to drainage, making sure it's not draining, impacting the community in a negative aspect. So. Applying for a permit is real simple. We have our own permitting software. It's GovModus. You just log in, create an account if you don't have an account. From here, you get all kind of access to your permit. Here we just wanted to talk on, I really wanted just to talk on some things that a lot of people might not realize in these permits from a residential standpoint. So window replacements. So recently, in the last couple of years, we went from an energy code of 2009 to 2021. With that, if you think about it, in 2009, we barely had a smartphone. It might have been the first iPhone. So just think about how technology has advanced in just those times. So when you think about that, energy efficiency has changed dramatically since then. So that's one of the reasons why we want to make sure everybody gets permits for these window replacements. And some of that falls isn't just energy efficiency. Some of it is when it comes to life safety, having a tempered window, where a window might be a certain size or in a location that requires it to be tempered. And that's just to protect, you as homeowners, your kids, and future homeowners that might move into that house. So that's the importance behind that. Also, moisture. If it's not done properly, you get moisture into the house, unnecessary potential mold buildup and things like that. So that's the benefit of pulling permits and getting inspections. Roofing permits, this is something the state required August of last year is when they put this into effect. So before this, you used to get a new roof, shingles put on and all these different things, and it never needed to be inspected. It's something that happens, takes 1 or 2 days and move forward. But the state, they put a mandate out there that they want us to have safer roofs and have it inspected, make sure that everything's done properly, all the way from the underlayment, to make sure it's holding up from high winds with the fastening. So just wanted to tell y'all about roofing permits.
There's no fortified roof requirement.
No, no, there's not. So our wind speed here in St. George ranges from 120 to 123 miles per hour.
Although you may get an insurance benefit from having a fortified roof.
Correct. Fencing permits. Why a permit matters. Permits help ensure fences are placed correctly, avoid drainage and maintenance conflicts, and verify pool barriers meet safety requirements. Without a permit, you could face drainage problems, removal, or risk serious safety hazards. So when you think about this, for the longest time, people would think, I don't need a permit for a fence, or why would I need a permit for a fence? But when you think about it, especially in St. George, a lot of our houses has pools. And when you think of it that way, if it's not designed properly, somebody could climb over that fence and easily potentially drown. And that's not what we want here in our community. So shed permits. This is something a lot of people don't think about as well, but when it comes down to sheds, you have a whole bunch of different things that could occur. You got wind events, you got flood events, so you need to make sure it's properly anchored. Not to mention setback requirements. If it doesn't meet setback requirements, then you could have potential code enforcement issues where your neighbor's calling on you like, hey, they put this shed all the way up to my property line, and if you would have got the permit prior, all of this would have been reviewed and avoided. Generator permits. There's some generator contractors that feel like they don't need a pool permits, but it's definitely a safety issue. Because when you think about generators, you got carbon that could potentially come into the house if it's not meeting the required clearances. If it's too close to a window, if it's too close to an opening, a door, too close to an AC unit. So you have all that. And then also you have clearance requirements when it comes to the gas meter, and gas builds up. So if it's too close to something, gas is just gonna build up like a cloud, and it has no place to kind of escape. And so that's other potentials, issues that you have. And me as a building official, I'm just gonna speak this on 1 second. I actually like really have a lot of concern about everybody, like whether it's somebody that's working or somebody that's in the community, or I really value y'all's safety, so I just want to let y'all know. AC permits. This falls with the energy code that we just adopted a couple years ago, where this, and when I say we, I'm talking about the state of Louisiana. They want things to be more efficient, energy-wise. It's no longer you walk into a house and you say, okay, it's this size house, I need this size duct and need this tonnage unit. Now they have a whole system in place based on your location of the house, the size of your house, your room size, the height of your room. It gives you, it says this is exactly the system you need, this is exactly the duct size you need, and this many CFMs are needed to feed these rooms. And some of the benefits by getting a permit, it prevents improper installation that could cause leaks, mold, and moisture issues, higher energy costs, reduce equipment life, and then costly repairs, and then even insurance complications.
Hey Nick, quick question.
Yeah.
When you said like why it matters and why you're pulling it, and you were saying like it tells you the duct size and it goes down to like the room, the height, and all those things. Is that something that your department looks at?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yes. So, and it's called a manual JSD. The manual JSD, you put in all that information and it tells you exactly what's needed. And then you submit that to us and we review it. It's really, if you have all the proper documents up front, it's really not gonna slow down the process at all, because those are quick reviews. So once you get your permit, the next important thing is make sure they call in the inspection, because they might pull a permit, but they might never call in the inspection. So in order to get that certificate of completion that we talked about earlier, they need to get a past inspection. So I just want to introduce a few people. You already saw myself, the building official, but we also have in our department, we have our permit techs. In the back, we have Isabella. We have Jalacia. She's out of town. We have Ebonique. She's in the back as well. We have Donetta. So this is the front line. So anytime you have questions about permits or processing a permit, these are the 4 people that is going to answer your phone calls, answer your emails. They're providing a good customer service to answer any questions that you might have on the front end. This is our residential plan reviewer, Jesse. And he's not here, but he'll be in town for a couple weeks at the end of July. So if y'all want to meet Jesse, just come in and say hey, or have questions about different plan reviews.
He's based here.
He's in Nebraska. We're actually looking for an in-house plan reviewer, but we're gonna have Jesse come in for a couple weeks in July, like 2 or 3 weeks.
So if you go to ivts.org/careers, if you know somebody.
Yes.
As a credential plan reviewer, we are hiring.
Yes, we're looking for a credential plan reviewer and inspector. So if you know any, tell them to apply. I would love to give them an interview. All right. Scott already introduced Bryant with our planning and zoning department. He introduced Mario with code enforcement. And then Stephanie, Justin, and Sean with engineering. So with that, I want to give everybody a chance for questions and answers. So you can ask me different questions that y'all might have, ask them different questions that y'all have, and we have all the time for y'all.
I've got a couple. Clifton Smith, Knowles Electrical. I guess I'll start with
it's
you watch
supposed
the news lately, Cliff?
Yeah, I watch it every morning.
Did there was a news story just yesterday,
Yeah.
about a gentleman that, bought a house,
Okay,
and it's right in a curve,
okay,
and apparently, people have driven into his house on 5 different occasions,
okay.
and, they're gonna condemn his house.
Oh, wow.
Because, you know, he hasn't affected, it's just terrible where he's
Yeah.
at, you know?
Gotcha.
So
Yes.
that's an example. The story is, yeah, if it's a violation of ordinance,
Okay,
we are charged to enforce it, okay? But like I said, you know, our goal is not to issue fines or citations. Our goal is just compliance. So if the fence meets code, then we would just ask somebody to get a permit, we would inspect it, and then you have an officially okay fence.
simple.
But if it met code when it was built, then there's no issue.
That's right, but we would have to be able to ascertain that, you know, so, you know, one of the things that Nick did mention, and probably a lot of people here know, there's so many things that you could talk about, you know, but this is why we have a question and answer session, is that one of the reasons you wanna get a fence permit, right, is because we live in Louisiana. And anybody ever seen the pipeline map? You know, so I used to serve on the Emergency Preparedness Committee, and then on that committee, you get to see all the pipelines, you know, because it's generally not made public for obvious reasons, that you're not gonna put that information out there for just anybody to have. You've got more pipelines probably running through or around or underneath your property than you're aware of, you know, and so it's important to, before you dig, call 811, right? And so, that is the main reason that you wanna get a fence permit, is because you might think it's okay for you to be digging a hole right there because it's your backyard, but you might be surprised too.
I wouldn't dare dig without an 8-point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially with the expensive utilities they got in the ground these days, it's crazy, so, understandable.
So we just ask that you get a permit, and then the permit will
Yeah.
go through the necessary process, and we'll just
Okay.
make sure that everybody's safe.
I like it, I like it. One more thing, well, probably a couple more, but, there was this particular situation, I think y'all are aware of it. It was that sewer situation that we had, raw sewage being dumped into the Amite River. I been bringing it up for quite a while, just trying to be transparent, trying to get some answers on it. And we never really could come to a final conclusion. I couldn't get anybody on site. And so thank goodness for Max Himmel, he's great, I love that guy. He's
He's great.
boots on the ground, he comes to the site, he was walking around, I was like, hey man, come see this. And so I showed him the situation, and, we finally got some action going on, I think,
Yeah, so Providence Engineering is one of our subcontractors,
Yeah.
they're gonna
Okay.
send somebody out there to take a sample, and the discharge,
yeah,
and then we'll follow the code enforcement process, and ultimately, they'll probably find themselves in our adjudicated hearing process,
okay,
and the magistrate will issue an order for them to repair their system, and probably authorize the city to go in and take whatever action is necessary, and to charge him at his expense, for whatever that is.
very good. So the question really was, how can we make that more efficient? Because it was an obvious biohazard to the community being, biohazard leaked into the river. How can we make that more efficient?
You know,
It's been 6 months that I've been bringing it up to everybody, sending pictures and everything. How can we make that more efficient?
yeah, by bringing it to our attention, you know, I think
I
that,
did that.
you know, I know, and so I apologize to you that it took so long. You know, one of the things that I will, gladly confess to
Okay.
is that we're, a newly formed city, and our processes are not perfect, but we are refining them.
Everybody's got
This is
one.
reminding you of a meeting that we had once before, Willie, you know, where I'm talking about our permitting software, but did we make substantial improvements? And so we will improve that process.
Okay, thank you. And that was another thing I wanted to ask about I think I brought up a couple like, IT GovMode is more efficient. Being able, so when the local people, go on, we're not normally used to going on a program like that and knowing what button to push, when to push, where to push. Making it more, I don't think I got an answer on the last one I brought up about having a red dot of some, hey, you have an unread message, or hey, you have this, or hey, this has been filed, so we need to get an answer on this. Something that calls the public's attention to that situation so we can kind of make things more efficient. I don't think I got an answer on the last email that I brought up. I think I copied the IT team in it as well.
Yeah, so, that is the process, but software updates, come in batches.
Okay.
In all probability, your suggestion is included in the batch that we sent in the last batch of updates. Because that's how we do it,
Okay.
is that when we get feedback from somebody like yourself or one of our contractors, we pass that along to our IT
I
team.
wonder if there's a way that I could get a response. Like, hey, this is being processed, or hey, this is like a response to the emails that I sent.
Sure, okay.
Might be helpful. That way I know that I can take my guard down and know that it's being addressed, the way I don't have to keep worrying about it, type of thing. The public.
Fair enough.
Okay. That would be helpful too, so. Just another suggestion.
It's a good suggestion,
Thank
thank you.
I know I had emailed Nick, and Nick's always been very responsive. Something to try to streamline from a commercial perspective. Here a few months ago, y'all changed the process where a new building coming up that has a tenant name on it gets a certificate of occupancy at the end of the project. But if you're doing a renovation, even though the plans are submitted with a tenant's name, after we get our certificate of completion, the tenant or us on their behalf, because a lot of them aren't familiar with the program or whatever, we've got to go in, apply for a certificate of occupancy, and go through the process, including and other inspections, okay, which just got finished. Your final building, final electrical, final mechanical has all been done, and now you're another week before the tenant gets a certificate of occupancy. If that could just somehow be added into the permit, a line item for the occupancy fee of $115, I think is what it is, and make that part of the main process at the end, I think.
Yeah, we were just texting about that, on the way over here, Nick and I. Nick, you wanna take that and talk about, what we can do to expedite the, process all the way through the certificate of occupancy?
Yeah.
And that's part of the batch. I'm sure that's part of something that we go into.
Yeah. So the reason behind why they changed it was we didn't want to give certificate of occupancy just for, like, let's just say somebody did a small little section of a commercial building, or even a residential. Let's just say they changed out windows. We didn't want to give a certificate of occupancy for the whole, take liability for the whole structure. So where your permit might just be for one portion of the building, the certificate of occupancy will be inspection on the whole building. So that's where it came for the remodel process. And that way it wouldn't just be on the contractor that did the remodel, it'll be on the tenant to make sure the whole place is up to par, because you might have did the east wing and the west wing might have some issues, but your contract was on the east wing. So that was one reason why they separated it. Another reason is because fire prevention, it makes more sense for them to go at the occupancy inspection as opposed to on the remodel, because at the remodel, no furniture is gonna be in place. A lot of stuff that might be combustible won't be in place. So if they there, once all that's in place, they could do a proper inspection as opposed to just looking at a shell, which the fire prevention, which is St. George Fire Department, they really don't have anything to look at when it's just an empty shell, so.
Well, the last 3 projects we've done have been complete building renovations,
Okay.
okay?
Mhm.
About 2 of them, all three were vacant. Two of them were shell buildings that really initially didn't even have a concrete floor, it was a dirt floor.
Right.
And the third one was a tenant change, a tire place moved out, a paint store moved in, and we had a demolition plan, we stripped the whole thing down. So, state fire marshal inspection, all the complete 100% inspections. In fact, the paint store, we had installed a sprinkler system in.
Right.
So all of the inspections and those, and I understand your concern over if it was just a small section
Mhm.
or whatever that was renovated.
Right.
The last three projects we've had were complete wall-to-wall renovations. And it just
Yeah.
makes it a little more,
Challenging for their
yeah,
client.
right. Because it takes time, and
Yeah.
time's a four-letter word that a lot of people don't like.
Definitely.
And when you get down to the very end, and as a contractor, we're trying to get them to sign their acceptance, of the project. Of course, we wanna get our last invoice in,
Mhm.
I mean, we're in the business
Yeah.
of construction to make money.
Right.
Okay, and it just slows down that process at the end, so if there's something that y'all can figure out.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
concern is, about when you get that last certificate of completion and then the transition to the certificate of occupancy, the timeline in between the two, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Usually it's boom, you've got both and they can move in that day. But having to wait that week, some people, that makes them really upset, we found.
Mhm.
Cause then you're having to get more inspections and they've just had all the inspections. So
By the
it's
way,
like-
this meeting's being recorded, so everything that you're asking us to do, we're not gonna forget. You're not sitting writing anything
No,
down, so I just wanted to know.
we understand with the software program, with the computer program and everything, somebody doesn't go in there and just rewrite a portion of code for it to take effect.
So like Cliff was talking about, it sounds like that would really be a software upgrade, so the notification to Nick as the chief building official, he's the guy that would issue the certificate of occupancy ultimately. So scheduling, that final inspection and making sure that notification comes up a little quicker, I think we can make that.
Yeah.
Emailing Nick, this is what we did before, is emailing Nick and just suggested, ask him what IT, idea you had to make things more efficient, and he's really responsive about taking care of those things. So that's another great avenue to take.
Yeah, and Tommy, I would love to have a meeting with you, maybe a couple other people, maybe myself, Scott, Justin, and we could all get in a room and talk.
Yeah.
We have a lot of ideas.
Okay.
Okay, well, we would love to hear it.
And look, we are not,
Respectfully,
Me too.
yeah, we're not comparing St. George to anybody else.
I know, I want you to compare us to
We are
everybody.
familiar, we have a couple of different jurisdictions where we use different software programs for the permitting process.
Mhm.
They all work a little different, they all have some strengths, they all have some weaknesses, that's called life, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, ultimately, Tommy, I can tell you that our goal is that we wanna be the best. We wanna be the easiest to deal with ultimately.
Can I tell
I
you-
know we're maybe not there yet, but that's our goal.
can I say one thing that is really confusing for me? We have multiple projects in St. George, luckily, right?
Yeah.
So we have a permit number for us, electrician has their own permit number, plumber, it gets so confusing
Yeah.
to look at that list.
I agree, I was gonna bring that up.
And literally, I have to look for the owner because I'm like, I don't even know what all of this, it's so many numbers and key and it's, if it was just one permit number
Mhm.
for all of us, for the whole project.
Normally, when you go and do like the MGGO or whatever the
Mhm.
other one's called, I forget, they changed it recently.
MGA.
But when you go up, it doesn't, you don't build your permit first and then apply to link those permits. You search for the actual permit, and then once that permit comes down, it has the links to it to add the additional permits to that
In it.
permit. So that's kinda how the other one goes. I don't know if, there's something that you could do about that.
It's just incredibly difficult. I think we have 5 at a time,
Mhm.
but then you have to add all your MVPs to it. So our screen, there's all these numbers and it's like, wait, where is ours
Yeah,
on
yeah.
here?
So one feature that I know that they're working on is like the nickname feature, to where,
A unique identifier that, that you can
Yeah.
set up yourself, that matches whatever your internal processes are.
yeah,
Whatever
It's
your-
just really
your
so-
GC, and one improvement that y'all had made to the program
Mhm.
was you had to go through at one point,
Yeah,
and if you wanted to make sure, as the general
Right.
contractor, we're interested in where the plumber is, the mechanical,
Right.
electrician is. You had to go into those permits to find out where their inspections were or not.
Right.
And y'all have improved that.
right,
You know, and that makes it a whole lot easier.
right.
And
Yeah.
poor Lacey, we call her multiple times a day. I know she's tired of us. She's always very quick and great to work with. But there's a lot of times when we call, and she's like, well, I have to go in the system and push it through. And that doesn't really make sense to us because things aren't getting pushed through when we think they are. And then it's been 2 or 3 days and it's like, why hasn't this come through yet? And she's like, oh, I have to push it through. So
And-
I feel like we're constantly calling.
And what do you mean by push it through?
What are some of the things we've had to have?
Well, you know, there's a process, it's like final electrical, final plumbing, final mechanical, final building, boom, it's done.
Right,
On certain instances, there seems to be a lag time before the certificate of completion is done,
mm,
okay?
yeah.
And, we move.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
it should be a 24-hour, within 24 hours, like one business day.
No.
And right now, so we're actually going through little transitions where, you know, we're hiring more staff, and at the same time, we're training. So right now, where, like you said, you might just be calling 1 or 2 people. We're actually in the process now where we're cross-training all the permit techs to where everybody would know how to do everything, so it won't just fall on 1 or 2 people and you're waiting on that, and that'll speed up and the process times for everybody, and also helps with customer service. And when you don't have to just rely on calling one person, you can feel comfortable calling any of the permit techs and they can answer any of the questions. And like I said,
And
it should be,
Lacey is our go-to lady.
Yeah.
She has been helpful,
yeah,
you know.
she is great.
I think some of the push-throughs are when we maybe submit our approved fire marshal plans in, nothing, you know, you said the 24-hour, but like we're needing things a lot quicker with just the way that we work, and that's been a little challenge for us to get used to that.
So you're used to, you submitting something and then that same, like within an hour?
You get our occupancy.
Yeah.
Or within some, depending on when you do it, within the same day, within the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
workday. Now, you're not gonna put it in at 3 p.m.
Right, right.
And get it the same workday.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
also
You're able to
think,
get it in
I
at
also think
8 o'clock, 8 a.m. or something.
for your point, we'll get a confirmation, like, hey, you know, you have
Mhm.
issued this, it's in the process.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the tricky part, you don't get anything. Sometimes you'll 90% of the time, it seems like you get an email, or maybe possibly text, but I don't know about your email, mine's flooded with all kind of craziness. So I always have to delete stuff and do things, but, to have that red dot unread, hey, here's something that has been submitted into your document, read it, would be very helpful.
Yeah, I believe that. That sounds good.
Yeah, I love the red dot idea.
Yeah,
But,
just call attention to it.
Yeah, definitely. But, yeah, if it's before, I would say like 2 o'clock, I would think that it would get done that same day. So I'm glad you bring it to my attention, because if it's not being done, I need to, find out why. I
And
mean,
sometimes that's with the workload that you have and the number of people you have pushing the work.
right, and see, and then that also could be where, like I said, we, had transitioning on staff where we might have been short-staffed and
Sure.
it just falling all.
Vacation, illnesses, there's holidays, there's a lot that comes into
Yeah,
it.
so we finally, on the permit tech side, have, got fully, staffed. We're in the process of training the last one, and we're currently, like I said, in the process of the cross-training. So I was saying like a month from now, it'll be a way smoother transition, if, you had to ask me.
Well, I'm not scared to call, Sean can tell you that. Lacey can tell you that, you can,
Yeah.
so does Brian. So does Rachel,
I think you've talked to all of us at one point in time or another.
multiple times.
But, that is something I would say about the city of St. George, like, we really, and I'm not just saying that because they're here, like, we really have a great team, and that kind of differentiates us from other jurisdictions that I've dealt with, is the customer service aspect of it. And, that's something I really value, and if that ever, lags, I definitely wanna be the person to hear that.
Yeah, we, again, we recognize that everything that we're doing, as we are starting up, the city's not perfect yet, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing this right here, so that we can find out, how we can be better.
I've, got one more. So I have a company, Knowles Electrical, and I also have some other companies that I do like flip stuff, remodel stuff, different things like that. My Knowles Electrical company's tax license, I forget what they call it, is being, I guess, held hostage, I don't know, because of another company's permit, something or other, maybe some.
Your occupational license?
Yeah, my occupational license. Do you happen to have any idea why that is?
No, not off the top of my head, but if you call me tomorrow, I'll find out for you.
Can I get your number?
Yeah.
I'll talk to you after.
You got my number, right?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, okay. All right, I'll give you a shout after this. We'll talk about it. Thank you.
Any other questions?
The only other thing that I would ask, sometimes with the, waiting for all the review comments, and it's like a letter or a review letter isn't written until every department, because you've got the building department that's gotta look at it,
Mhm.
you have engineering that's gotta look at it, you got planning and zoning that have to look
Right,
at it.
correct.
Okay, and so you've gotta go to, within the control panel and view inspection and all,
Mhm.
and there's an open date, and I'll call Sean, what's your due date for review on this?
Mhm.
Okay? And he tells me, we're hoping for the 19th or whatever, but if y'all could incorporate that into of a due date for inspections. We got a
For the
project
plan
out there,
review.
it's a driveway deal, and I think it's still open, maybe with engineering. Planning and zoning's looked at it.
Yeah, I actually think that's a good
And I
idea.
called about a due date, Sean has it.
Yeah,
Gave it to me, so I know what that is, but
I think,
it would be one less phone call to him. And I don't know how many, and I'm not picking on you, Sean, you have to be here. If Rachel was here, I guess I got Brian to pick on. But, it would be one less phone call. I don't know
Yes.
how many people call Sean and say, hey, when's this coming out? It's been sitting there for 6 business days, whatever,
Mhm.
when is it coming? I don't know if I'm the only one that calls him or if he gets other calls.
yeah, I mean,
Am I the only one that calls?
Sean, is he the
Sean?
only one that calls you?
yeah, Sean,
I get a couple calls.
about the due date. All right, no, I would say in the beginning, that wasn't there because we didn't want it to have like a time constraint. But I'm all about being transparent, so I don't think that's a bad idea to have the due date on there. And I'm always the type of person, I always want it done before the due date. So it might have a due date on there, but I want it to be done before that due date. So I guess in a way, that's why it was off, but I think it's a good idea to actually, put it on there. And, cause that will save a phone call from, like you said, calling the reviewer, calling the permit set. So I actually think that's a really good idea, and, yeah, thanks for that. Hey,
Before St. George was formed a couple of years ago,
yes,
we had a fence from Scott Fence Company
Mhm.
installed, and then we had Optimize install our generator.
right.
Do we still need to get y'all to come inspect those? I don't know.
No, if they pulled the permit and they had the inspections and it's closed out, then you're good to go. But
We
having,
never got a copy of like the inspection or anything. They got that? you think?
yeah, if you were to
Oh.
call that, they will be able to provide
Oh,
that to
okay.
you.
Okay, so we don't need y'all to do that since.
I mean, but if they don't have it, then there's always a
You said it was
possibility.
before St. George was incorporated?
Yes.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have it. It'd be-
Yeah, I wouldn't have it,
And
it would be,
I'm just saying, we
up, I could let you know if they pulled a permit or not.
Oh, I would imagine, I mean, they're both really reputable companies that have, done countless fences and generators in Baton Rouge, so
And,
I feel like they did their
What-
part.
what-
And I know before, we had the lines marked and all before they put up the fence and before we got
Yeah.
the generators.
well, not to speak on, your fence in particular, but in Baton Rouge, I would say the issue was 90% of fences, probably more like 95% of fences never, had a permit pulled. And then the ones that did, probably only 70, probably only 30% of those actually called in their inspections. And that's just to be completely honest with you.
But I mean, if they, I mean, it's in the past, so.
That's
if
in the
they-
past.
So if they didn't have a permit, it's grandfathered in, I mean,
Wha-
pretty
wha-
much.
I mean,
So if my recommendation always is that if you have any work done without a permit, that you apply for a permit after the fact and get it permitted, so that it can be inspected, just to make sure that it's safe. You know, the permits,
are way cheaper.
what we charge for a permit, I mean, if you looked at the permitting fees, pretty reasonable, especially if you think about all that goes into the process of processing a permit, You gotta accept it, you gotta review the documents, and, then you actually gotta just review that the documents are there, is what I mean by that. Then you gotta actually review the documents, to make sure that the site plan and everything is situated like it should be. And then somebody has to go there physically and inspect it and put the information in there. What you really want more than anything is somebody looking at those documents and doing the on-site inspection, right? And, so I think our fees, I can tell you this, we're not making money on permitting, The city's overall budget subsidizes the permitting process. And so we're not doing that at all to make money, we're doing it to keep people safe.
Well, what
Yeah.
are the fees?
Yeah, so I would just speak on the fence, since you talked on the fence. So our fees for a fence is $45. In Baton Rouge, and this for residential. In Baton Rouge, their fees was $250. So when you look at 45 to 250, that's another reason why fence contractors might be like, yeah, I'm not pulling that permit. Because from what fence contractors talked to me, they were like, if I pull this permit and give them this quote, and it's gonna be $250 extra, and I'm referencing Baton Rouge, there's gonna be another fence contractor that's gonna come right behind me, and they're gonna underbid me, and they're not gonna pull a permit. So why should I spend the $250 and lose out on the job? So
What is it for a generator?
generator, I'll let one of the permit takes in the back.
I think it's like 100, oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah,
That's okay,
I was like,
No,
oh,
go ahead.
It's
Go
probably
ahead.
like $145, I think, what it ends up being. But they've gotten so not in depth, but they've gotten so, it keeps, oh, wow. Oh, yeah, okay. So
That's for the electrical and everything.
and gas. Okay. So they've gotten to where the generator permits, I can't install generators efficiently enough to keep up with some of these bigger generator contractors that just specialize in generators, because there's so many different things that you have to get together in order to submit it, and then go through the process of inspections, and then have to go back and forth and do this and do that, and do the shenanigans and outs. And I understand the dangers of it, and there's, that's just society, today's society, that's just what it is. But I wish there was a better way to make it efficient and still safe. But,
We're
maybe
open to
AI will help with that.
suggestions. Like I said,
Yeah.
if you got ideas,
Yeah,
we'll listen to them.
I don't like messing with generators, so I'm not gonna mess with it. I'll leave it alone.
Okay.
I'll stick with the General Electric.
All right, Willie?
There's some major issues with generators from a safety standpoint, You definitely gotta have carbon monoxide inside.
We have them in every room of our house.
Okay?
Yes.
The other thing you don't wanna do is install a generator where you got a soffit
Yes.
into
gonna
the
suck
attic. You wanna
Yeah.
be sure that's not there. And you gotta be manufacturer's recommendation or respect, you gotta be so far from the building.
Right.
Don't install one if it meets those requirements in an offset of the exterior wall. Because if you put it in the offset, it's not properly ventilated, even though you got it 18 inches from the wall. You know, it's in that little cove there. I had a case where electrician did one for his own house, and he had triplets plus another little girl, and his carbon monoxide or alarm went off one night, middle of the night. So his father lived next door, and he's getting all the kids out and getting to his father-in-law, this thing was like 2 o'clock in the morning. And he gets over there and does a head count. Well, he's missing one little kid. So back in the house, he has to go to rescue this little kid. So, you know, there's a lot of things, a generator can be bad,
Definitely.
okay? You just gotta do it correctly.
Right.
And a permit, to make sure that's done correctly, is some good insurance.
Right.
Thank you, Willie.
Thank you
And
very
not to-
much.
Not to steal Nick's thunder or anything like that, but just from my experience too, like the two things in our state that had a high potential for death are generators and swimming pools. And that's one thing that I know the state for years has been after local jurisdictions to really police and make sure it's safe, because people die from those more than
Yes.
anything else. In a typical residential situation, having an unsafe pool or an unsafe generator, so.
Right.
I know it's top priority for Nick, and I understand the complications and frustrations for doing the extra paperwork, but there's a lot, the reason behind it, and what we're saying is that we're just trying to prevent people from getting injured or possibly death, so.
My thing is, if you can't afford the permit, you can't afford the generator. Okay? There's too many safety issues related to that generator.
And pools.
And those are all great points.
Anybody got anything else?
One last question on traffic impact analysis. Sean, you sent me the calendar for a job I'd spoken with you about, a potential job on Jefferson Highway, and you sent me the calendar. It's gonna be a convenience store selling fuel. I'm almost positive it's gonna be over 40 trips a day.
Yeah.
But the analysis can't be done on those blockout dates until school starts again.
Yeah, so for our purposes for the city, we're unable to take, to perform data collection for these studies during the summer. And that's just because we're currently following LADOT's process for portions of our traffic analysis where it makes sense, and that's just one of them. The calendar is up, and it's been up on the website for about 6 to 8 months now. We do allow the applicants to perform their own data collection, so that's one of the things that we're trying to encourage, is for projects that, you know, you're aware are gonna be started over the summer, maybe perform this data collection at a time.
But as of right now, with it being in the middle of the summer, would St. George accept a private traffic impact analysis? Or if
We
we
accept data,
went,
we accept data collection that
It's outside of
conforms
the
with the
lockout
calendar on our website.
okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought, but I wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we're gonna close it out. I thank all of y'all for coming. Look, if you ever visit City Hall, right in the lobby, you'll find, a business card for everybody that's here. And our contact information is on the website as well. As, I think Nick alluded to, and, one thing we do take pride on is we do try to, respond to communications and make sure that things are happening, when you reach out to us. So we encourage you to reach out to us anytime, all right? Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you.
I go back and get.
Have a good evening.
Thanks, Willie.